On this channel, we encourage experimentation when it comes to bourbons and ryes. Typically, that comes in the form of making your own blends. But one other way that people like to experiment at home is through the use of either wood chips, wood sticks, wood spirals, or their own small barrels, pouring whiskey into those barrels and creating their own magic experiments. Love the experimentation. And thanks to one of our biggest whiskey friends, the OG whiskey friend, Wise Guy Stu, we get to do an experiment here today. Stu sent me some samples that he experimented with using different toasted wood staves in some good whiskeys to see if they could elevate them further. So I haven't gotten a chance to taste these yet. We are going to do it today live on this video. Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining everybody for a very interesting experiment here. We've been all about the science experiments this year. So what we are going to be doing today is a comparison of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof batch A125, but with a twist. Our comparison is actually coming from Stu here, and he did his own stave finish with ECBP A125. Now, the latest batch of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof as of filming here, I was okay on it. I think I graded it like an 83, 84, just a very good whiskey, but not up to the typical standards of Elijah Craig. What we're going to see here is if the stave finish actually improves on that. Now, I am going into this with some skepticism because when it came to the cast strength toasted single barrel I got my hands on, I actually thought for a 10-year barrel, it kind of de-aged it a little bit and made it a little funky. So I wasn't a big fan of it, but we'll see if I'm a fan of what Stu's put together here. And then once again, what Stu put in the barrel would be something that resembles this. He gave me some chunks so I can experiment with this on my own. And I'd be remiss to say there's others in the community that have been experimenting with this as well. So this is actually maple syrup from Top Dog, and he put some French oak staves in there. This stuff is really, really good. He also gave me some staves that I'm supposed to experiment with too. So there's going to be some experimentation in my future. Maybe I'll actually throw them into a blind on Kelsey and Darrell on a Whiskey Wednesday at some point. I shouldn't have said that out loud. I'll wait 6 months before I do that. So I got my first glass here. I marked it stave finish. And then I got my second glass here and I marked it OG for the original. So I'm going to go back and forth here. I'm going to try the original first, and then I'm going to see what characteristics Stu's stave finish either brought out of it or diminished it or what the heck's about to happen. So cheers, everybody. Let's get into this. Going back and forth on the nose here. Once again, this A125 is a very down the middle Elijah Craig Barrel Proof batch. Some nice nuttiness, some nice vanilla, little bit of fruits coming through. Not getting a whole lot of oak, despite the age statement on this. Let's see what happens with the stave finish. The stave finish on the nose, at least, does fundamentally change the whiskey. You know, when I mentioned that there isn't a lot of oak on the OG version, the stave finish one does have a lot of char and a smokiness, which I guess does make sense, being that these are wood chunks used at home and just placed in the bottle. The nuttiness and vanilla is still there, but the fruit is a little diminished here. Either way, as I go back and forth, I'd say these noses are pretty equal by comparison. One doesn't stand out over the other for any particular reason. They're both just good. All right, we're going to get in the palate here. First going into the original, then we'll go into the stave finish. Again, a solid Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, right down the middle. Rich, creamy, vanilla, nuttiness, some fruits to go with it. The oak does show up mid-palate, and it's got a decent finish too. Just an all-around good bourbon. All right. Let's get into the stave finish and see if it adds anything to this. This is very interesting, going back and forth. The stave finish one, the fruits actually come out a bit further, and it does have a overall darker profile. Not oakier, but darker leaning. The finish on it actually sticks out a bit more pronounced too. Yeah, like a really good length of the finish there with some vanillas. That's pretty interesting. I mean, going back and forth, they definitely rhyme, but I actually like the stave finish a little better. It actually feels more well-rounded. That's very surprising to me. I was actually worried that it would play out kind of like the toasted single barrel that I got, where it almost like de-aged it. It didn't feel like it was 10 years at all. This one actually added depth and darkness to it, which is one of the things that A125 is lacking. And it didn't necessarily change anything about the overall note profile. It's the same overall profile, just certain aspects of it are deeper and darker. If I were to grade these, I actually think I would grade the stave finish one maybe like a point higher, maybe 2 points higher. 85, 86 versus that 84. So it didn't drastically improve the whiskey per se, but it did add some interesting depth to this dang thing. I'm certainly not recommending that you go around your basement and start throwing wood chips and spirals into all of your bottles, but it is a very, very interesting experience, especially for something that was overall good, but had some lacking qualities. Now I'm starting to wonder if maybe you could even improve those at home and elevate a pour just a little bit. So now I'm so intrigued by this. I got to bring this experimentation into the future. Stu gave me some chunks to experiment with, and Top Dog gave me some as well. I'm going to do something with those. Let me know what whiskeys you would like to see us experiment with. Add some of these wood chunks and wood staves too, and see if it does drastically change anything. Or maybe we just get the more consistent result where I think we concentrate on bourbons that we think were lacking in the first place, but we're still fundamentally good, maybe scoring in the lower 80s, and see if we can elevate those further with some staves. Now, I'll check with Stu on how long these were in the bottle, because we certainly don't want to overfinish anything, but maybe there is some interesting aspects here. One of the candidates that sticks in my mind right away is the Stag 24D, but I do want to hear about your suggestions in the comments. So if you're still here, hit that like and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. And just remember, while you can always find more whiskey, you can never have enough whiskey, friends. So take care of those around you, and we'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye, buddy.